Good morning, everybody. It is the day after Christmas. I hope everyone had some amazing holidays that were full of happiness. It is Steven here from Powell's Power Ups. We got an overview video for a client of mine, Jake. This is his Dark Lord Darth Vader lightsaber from Watto's Junkyard. So he sent it to me to do an installation. The installation is complete. Jake, this is your full overview video. I'm going to go over everything I did to the lightsaber as far as the install goes, everything that comes with it in the box, what to do, what not to do as far as how to properly handle the lightsaber so that you protect your investment and a few other things. So sit down, get comfortable. Please watch this entire video before you get your lightsaber. That way, everything is taken care of. So I'm gonna send it to you back in the box you sent, and this is your box right when you open it, which is much like an iPhone box. Inside, in the lid, you will have obviously your little card here, your card certificate of authenticity. You have the XTAR MC1 Plus lithium-ion battery charger packaging. I took it out of the plastic so that it fit into the box. You have the original little thing here, the little, I guess, packaging, whatever you want to call it. And then you have the little manual that came inside of it, right? So that'll be in there. You also have printed off instructions for lightsaber operations. So you got a Profi board version 2 in yours. Your lightsaber functions with a single switch. So all of the functionality instructions are included here in these next several printed off pages. Make sure you pay attention not just to what the buttons do, but also the orientation of the saber. Sometimes the saber does one thing when you're pointing up and it does other things when you're pointing down. So pay special attention to that. Also in the box will be included your 18650 lithium-ion battery, which I've actually added a Sky Wampa battery wrap onto it to give it that cool Star Wars look, right? So it looks like an actual power cell. But I still wanted you to know what kind of battery that actually was. So I peeled the label off and stuck it right here to the bottom of your instructions so that if you ever wanted to get more batteries later or know information about it, you would have that sticker right there to know what kind of battery it is. So that will all be there. And then inside of the actual case is the actual lithium-ion battery charger for your battery. I only recommend using this charger and this battery. Don't use any other types. If you want to know where to get more of these, or if you lose your charger, let me know. I can show you where to get more. So that will be down inside of the box like this. You also have your screen accurate pummel, which will be in the Ziploc bag. This one does not have the holes for sound venting, so I left it in the bag. You also have your little Ziploc baggie full of Allen wrenches. You only need the small one, which will be for your blade retention screw. I'll show you that later. And then you also have your blade plug. So the blade plug will be in the little Ziploc baggie, and I did add a plastic bottom to it since it is a metal blade plug, and we have a NeoPixel blade connector in here with metal pins. We don't want any metal contacting those pins, creating any shorts or anything like that. So I just took a blade side PCB holder and just glued it onto the bottom here so that it has a plastic bottom, so you don't have to worry about any shorts happening. So you can use this blade plug. So it will go in the little Ziploc baggie, and it'll be inside of the packaging. All right, moving on, we will look at the hilt now. Let me get this rolled back up and packed in here. So the hilt is very chrome. It is very shiny. It does have my fingerprint smudges all over it. I haven't cleaned them off yet because I knew I was going to get more. I was probably going to get more on it whenever I did this overview video. So after this video, I will clean it up so that it is spotless and pretty and beautiful. That way, when you get it, it'll be clean and ready to go. So very beautiful lightsaber here. We have the concept saber that was for episode 3. This is Anakin into Darth Vader's hilt, his first one, Darth Vader. Super beautiful lightsaber, lots of chrome. So I got all of the greeblies glued on there, all using E6000, even one on the inside here. If we look into the emitter, it's kind of dark, but you can see you have a stock version 3 NPXL connector. So the blade connector, I actually wired it to be individual, so the blade style can have its own blade style. You'll see that once we turn it on. And I also wired this for blade detection, so it makes cool blade in and blade out sounds whenever you put blades in and out. I'll show you that here in a minute in a demo. And then let's see this. So this is a single switch, right? The little chrome piece here on the side of the clamp is what clicks. You can hear it clicking. It works best if you hold it in your, right hand, or I guess left hand, and you basically click this bottom angled side because the switch is really towards the bottom down here. You can hear it clicking. So the whole lightsaber operates with that single switch there. Okay. We got your pommel down here with the holes on it for sound venting. They are some tiny holes though, and you'll notice there's a notably big difference. Not a lot of sound comes out of the bottom of this hilt. I guess that's just the way it is. You can definitely tell when you have the pommel on. You can just take that pommel off and then swing it around, and it's noticeably louder. So I guess that's just part of the saber design. But if it's not that, so if you notice your speaker, it doesn't sound really loud. It's not the speaker, it's just the pommel. Anyway, so the way that you take this lightsaber apart, you just thread off the entire lower handle, right? You don't really take the pommel off. You can just leave it on, and this lower handle is kind of just a shell that covers up your chassis. Now, this hilt, I'm going to go over something with you. You may notice there is some flaky stuff that you might notice on your chassis whenever you unscrew it that you see falling. That's because the handle, right, and this lightsaber is chrome plated, okay? Now, some of that plating and some of the stuff they did to make it that way is down on the inside of the hilt here, and some of that has started flaking and coming off on the inside. And you may notice just because your chassis kind of rubs the inside of this, it's kind of coming out. Eventually, all of that will rub out and the flaking will stop. But I've just been blowing it out. So that's what that is. It's the chrome plating kind of flaking off from the inside. Anyway, so here is your chassis. I resin printed this one, did some greeblies and designs on it to kind of match both Darth Vader's suit and this actual little greebly piece up here. I kind of incorporated into the chassis on the sides as well. So we got little blinky lights. They don't actually blink, but they're just painted to be that way, and some little piping on there. So I resin printed this, and then I painted it with metallic acrylic paint. So it's kind of a brushed metal, rustic gold color. And then we got, all black on the sides, and then all of your greeblies are painted various colors, some blues, some greens, some silvers, some coppers, and some reds. So on the bottom side here, we have your battery holder area, okay? The spring side is negative. Don't forget that. The spring side is negative. You do not want to put your battery in backwards because that can damage your electronics. So the flat side, the gold side of the battery here, goes against the spring. This is the negative side. And then the little button top is positive. And then you can see there's a little button tab inside of there. That's your positive. You can also tell because that one has red wires towards the bottom. So red meaning positive, black meaning negative. So when you put your battery in, make sure you always handle the lightsaber by the upper metal portion. Never handle the lightsaber by the plastic resin printed chassis, because these are susceptible to cracking and breaking. So you want to treat it like it's delicate and take care of it. Once the handle is screwed on, then the lightsaber is in a very strong state and the chassis is not susceptible to cracking and breaking. But once this is opened up, you have to treat it very carefully. So we got a battery section down here. Let's put the battery in. All you do is just put the negative side against the spring. Just use your finger up there to push down against that spring like this, and then push the positive side in.
You underestimate my power.
So you get a boot sound. You'll see some lights come on indicating that you have power. To take it back out, again, you just push against that spring and pull the positive side out. So I'll do it a couple times just to show you how easy it is.
You underestimate. Don't make me kill. Liar!
All right, so that's in now. You can hear the speaker. We got a black a black 3-watt 8-ohm speaker. This is a premium speaker from the Saber Merchant. It's a very clear, very high quality speaker. It sounds great. I've never had these blow on me, so I really like using them. So when we go to the top side here, we can see we have some pixels underneath the Profi board cover. So I 3D printed or resin printed this little Profi board covered with some kind of dark tinted windows in it so that these pixel strips can shine through. You have 2 of them there, 4 pixels on each. Whenever you have your battery in, these are pulsing.
You underestimate my power.
They're pulsing outwards, but they're green because these are actual battery level indicators, power level indicators. So right now, green means your battery is fully charged. As your battery starts to die, these green lights will fade to yellow and then orange and then red. Red indicates your battery is dying and then you need to charge it. So I do recommend draining your battery all the way down before you charge it again to prolong its life. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to fully charge a dead lithium-ion battery, the 18650 in here. So just be mindful of that. So your Profi board, right, sits up here towards the top. I have it pressed down as far as I can get it, but we do have some thicker 20 gauge wires for our positive and negative NeoPixel and battery wires. I like to use 20 gauge just to make sure we're getting all the appropriate amount of amps to the blade. So I always do 20 gauge. I know a lot of low quality sabers use like 26 and 28 gauge wiring, and I don't do that. I want to use the appropriate wiring in my installs so that the saber is, you know, high quality. So because it doesn't sit, I mean, it sits down inside the chassis, but what I'm saying is you'll notice when you go to put this cover on, the cover towards the top where the Profi board does stick up a tiny bit, but that's okay. Just press it down as far as you can. Whenever you put the handle on, it'll press it down the rest of the way and hold it in place. But the way this cover works is it just presses down inside this little space here, just like the Profi board. So push it all the way down at the bottom. Okay, you can start it in there, and then you just work it up towards the top and just use your thumb and get it down as far as you can. But it still looks great. You got the Empire symbol right there, okay, built into the chassis. Now, whenever you...
Don't make me kill you.
This just does the outward, the split bar graph. Whenever it's off, whenever it's on, you just have kind of an unstable red flicker. The color will match the blade color, whatever you choose that to be. And then you can see the main blade pixel just matches the main blade style, which is an audio flicker whenever the blade is on. And when you turn it off, it has a slow run forward. So like I said, the PCB itself is wired to be independent with its blade style. Okay. Now also, let me put the handle on. So once you get this, you want the cover on, always leave the cover on just to protect the Profi board from touching the inside of the metal hilt. You don't want it to do that just because of those solder joints there are just a little bit exposed, and you don't want those touching the inside of the metal hilt. So I guess this is kind of dual purpose for looks and for safety. Always good to have an added layer of protection. So it just presses in there like that. This is what it looks like. I'm not even looking up at the camera. But I really like to use the metallic acrylic paints. It makes the chassis look metal even though it's not.
Liar!
So there's your battery. The sound fonts. So I got you 3 sound fonts on here. You have Battle version 1 and 2 from Kyberphonic, which are free sound fonts, and they're from the Star Wars Battlefront video game. One of those kind of like a light side, and one's kind of like a dark side. I just gave those regular audio flicker blade styles. You can change colors on those. Your instructions will tell you how to do that. But then as far as your Darth Vader episode 3 sound font, I went with K-Sith sound fonts. And this is the Chosen One sound font. So and it comes with a hero and a villain. So I chose the villain version because it's Darth Vader. The villain version of the Chosen One sound font. So it's sounds great. So when you put your hilt on, your handle, you just slide it up to the threading, and then you can begin threading it back on. There we go. Once it's threaded on all the way, you'll notice that there's one rubber that lines up with the clamp, and then you'll have the CoverTech wheel over here on the left side. Trying to slide off. Some net cracking there.
Do what must be done, Lord Vader. Not hesitate, show no mercy.
So you have twist on and twist off functionality. Also, I don't have, so I'm going to Colorado in about 2 days to go snowboarding. I wanted to get this out in the mail to you before I go snowboarding so that you're not waiting a whole nother week. So you paid me to build you a blade, right? But I don't have time to build the blade. So I bought you a blade, an already made blade from the custom saber shop. With shipping and everything, it was about 130 bucks. You only paid me 100, so there's you 30 bucks back. I already bought that this morning. I'm gonna send you the order information and the tracking number for that as well. So your blade, which is a 34-inch long, 7/8 outer diameter, 7/8 inch outer diameter blade. This takes a 7/8 inch, not a 1 inch. So it's 34 inches long, but you got about an inch, maybe you got about 2 inches blade depth in here. Your MPXL connector is about here. So you got about 2 inches there. So your blade coming out will be about 32 inches, which is just about the perfect size for a single-handed, smaller lightsaber like this, especially 7/8 inch diameter. But the blade will be coming not from me. It'll be coming in a separate box from the custom saber shop. I did order UPS shipping, which is the shipping company that I trust and love. You'll probably get that in a couple days, maybe the same exact time as your hilt, maybe a day or two after. And then I'll ship the box to you myself. So I didn't build you a blade, but I did get you a high quality one from the custom saber shop. It actually uses the KR Sabers pixel stick, which is the most high quality pixels that you can get for your NeoPixel blades. So I've used them and they're great. But back to the blade. So I do have a demo blade. I just want to show you that it works with the demo blade. So your blade retention screw is actually this one right here. Okay, up towards the top of your emitter. You got one blade retention screw down inside there. This one right here can also work as a blade retention screw, but I don't recommend it. It holds this upper shroud onto the hilt, so I would just leave it there as is. And you don't want to if you screw that down any further or take it out, this black shroud will be loose and jiggly. So I recommend leaving it there. You only need one blade retention screw, which is this one here. Yeah. So you'll notice when I put a blade in, let me turn it back on. And by the way, the pixels, so your pixels in your chassis and the pixels here have a 2-minute timer set on them, or it's 2 or 3 minutes. After that, those LEDs cut off to conserve battery power. The Profi board does not have a sleep mode, but it does conserve a little bit of power by cutting those LEDs off. So I recommend if you're gonna put your hilt up for a long time, do not leave the battery in it. It will drain out in a week or so. And then it has like an alarm that goes off telling you that the battery's low and that you need to take it out. So I don't recommend leaving the battery in it. But yeah, back to the blade. So I wanted you to hear the blade detection sounds. It actually works if the hilt is on or off. Let me loosen this up. All right, here we go. So there's your blade detection sounds, and then as I kick it on, right, it even works while it's off. So there's your blade detection sounds. I just wanted you to hear those. And then there's just a little demo blade just to show you that your NeoPixel connector does work. All right, so back to one more thing. I want to go back to the Profi board. Take this blade out. Let me turn the lamp back on because I got to take the battery out for packaging. So one more thing about the Profi board, right? If you want to connect to the Profi board so that you can do some configuration, okay, you can just plug into the USB port right there with a downward angle micro USB cable. Now that cable does need to be a data cable, not just a charging cable. When you do that and you plug up to a computer, if you give it about a minute or so, the SD card contents will pop up on the computer and you will be able to access the SD card from this micro USB port. You do not need to take out the SD card, and I don't recommend you do so. You just can leave it in there like that. But if you do lift up the board and take the SD card out, make sure you take your time to carefully lay those wires underneath the board back into the grooves on the sides of the chassis, and then press that board down into the chassis to where it is nice and flush and the board is not sticking up like you see here. You want it like that, okay? So that's the last thing I really wanted to go over. But the Saber is done. I'm going to clean it up now. Get these smudges off, take some pictures for the Instagram and Facebook post, and then I'll send you links for this video after it's uploaded, and send you the shipping information. So thanks for choosing me to do the install on your lightsaber. I hope you like what I've done with it, and may the Force be with you.